both are into active stage. So that comes when there are interactive sessions, right? When a teacher puts up some questions, there is some brainstorming done by the participants, there's a discussion done by the participants and teacher, and finally it leads to some conclusion. So there is a great learning. So the most of the learning, so its effectiveness is almost around 90% when both are into active stage. So as you know that this is an online lecture and its duration is 2 hours. So normally we do not have the habit of 2 hours of lectures, that to in online mode, neither to listening nor to delivering. So in order to make it effective, we both of us has to be in the active mode, right? Okay, so you already had 5 sessions, right? Each of 2 hours of duration. So 10 hours of teaching has already been done. So so far you may have learned a lot of basic skills, basic definitions, basic things, that how innovation, how entrepreneurship, and how startup. Because you know the complete topic revolves around 3 words: innovation, entrepreneurship, and startups, right? And the topic given to me is the ecosystem available for promoting innovation and startup in educational institutions. So as we all are into educational institutions, so first we should try to discuss the 3 words: what is innovation, what is entrepreneurship, and what is a startup. Then we will talk about the innovation ecosystem in the educational systems, and in particular, and ecosystem in the country, right? So can somebody tell me what do you mean by innovation? Innovation is the most basic word here. Without innovation, we cannot think of any kind of entrepreneurship or any kind of startup.
A new way. Trying to do the existing task in a new way, new method.
Okay, so trying to do existing task by a new method. Okay, very good. Any other viewpoint?
Getting new ideas.
Getting new ideas. Okay, that is also innovation. Okay, anything else? Anybody else?
Introduction of something new.
Introduction of something new. Okay.
Yeah, innovation can be with respect to anything. It can be with respect to product, with respect to process, with respect to service, with respect to delivery. So in any aspect of an organization where some things are, output is generated in a new way that results in innovation, that can be called innovative.
Great, sir. Great. So, yeah. Anybody else would like to say anything?
It's like when you transform some industry, or there's some transformation that's happening from some in any aspect, that also can be some innovation.
Okay. So before starting presentation, I would like to discuss a case study with you all, so that you know we can brainstorm it. Say small case study, and is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see it? Can somebody read it? This is a small case study which will be having a different dimensions of the organization. So let us discuss this. Then we will move ahead with the presentation. Can somebody read it?
Tucker Manufacturing Company.
Yeah.
So you might want to zoom in. It's very.
Oh, just a minute. Just a minute. Let me. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
Shall we read, sir?
Yeah, please.
Mr. S. Thakur, President of Thakur Manufacturing Company TMC, and Mr. K. Mirchandani, Vice President, were discussing how future economic conditions would affect their product. Am I audible clearly, sir?
Yeah, please, yes.
How future economic conditions would affect their product, which is vacuum cleaner. These vacuum cleaners are very popular items sold in local as well as regional market. They were particularly concerned about inflation, which was causing their costs to increase at an alarming rate. The input material cost has gone up. TMC has increased the prices of their products last year by 10% and felt another price increase would have an adverse effect on sales. There were at least 5 known competitors in the market. Besides, there are at least 20 other local brands available in the market, mostly labeled as coming from an unorganized sector. TMC wondered if there was some way to reduce costs in order to maintain the existing price structure and yet be competitive. The product is targeted at the middle and upper middle class. The middle class segment is highly price sensitive. Mr. Mir Chandani attended a presentation organized by a local productivity council by the president of a hand tool company in the neighborhood on how they were solving a similar kind of problem. Apparently, they had just hired a purchasing agent who was successful in reducing costs by 15%. They have outsourced majority of sub-assemblies. Mr. Mir Chandrani thought some new and innovative ideas might be applicable to Thakur manufacturing. TMC had a supply chain manager to which the present assistant manager of materials, Mr. Sharma, was reporting. Mr. Sharma has been with the company for 15 years and apparently TMC has no complaints. Production has never been stopped for lack of material. Yet, there was a thinking that 20% of cost reduction in the present economic scenario was a possibility, which could not be ignored. Mr. Thakur suggested that Mr. Mir Chandani look into this area and come up with a set of recommendations in another 3 weeks. Mr. Mir Chandani consulted the people in the division. Through a series of brainstorming sessions, the group interacted on how they could improve the company's purchasing functions. Several suggestions were discussed and deliberated. These are given below. Analyze. Point 1. Analyze the product specifications on many parts of vacuum cleaners with an idea towards using plastics instead of metals. Install a state-of-art computerized system for structured bill of material. This responsibility could be given to the Engineering and Design Group RDG. Standardized many of the parts in the vacuum cleaners to reduce the number of items kept in stock. Evolve a coding system which may enable this. Give this responsibility to the purchasing group PG. Analyze items to see if more products can be purchased by blanket purchase orders with ultimate goal of reducing the purchasing staff. These blanket orders could be for the next 3 years. Currently, about 20 people are engaged in purchasing function of TMC. Again, give this responsibility to the purchasing group PG. Lower the stock reorder levels from 75 to 30 days for many items, thus reducing inventory. Implement this across the board. Look for a new and lower cost sources of supply. There was a yellow page directory published by Young Entrepreneurs Association listing various vendors. These vendors could be contacted based on local contacts. Increase the number of requests for bids in order to get still lower prices. Make bidding process as competitive as possible. Document this process professionally. Be more aggressive in negotiations. Make sure all trade, quantity, and cash discounts are taken. Document outcomes of all such negotiation exercises. Making purchasing group for a variety of items. Buy from the lowest price source. Disregarding local public relations. Stop showing favoritism to the customers who also buy from TMC. Always purchase as per the current requirements as projected by forecasting group instead of according to the market conditions, whereby they may an incentive to buy in bulk. Exploit the potential of IT. Use barcodes. Explore the possibility of having EDI with vendors. Explore the possibility of using RFID also. Give aggressive discounts on all products so that dead inventory or slow moving items can be disposed of. Fix monthly targets for reduction of
There
inventory.
was some technical.
Offer group incentives for inventory reduction.
Nahin?
After going through the above 10 suggestions, Mr. Mirchandani was debating with himself that what he should recommend to Mr. Thakur. Just last week at the department meeting, Mr. Sharma was recommending many opposite actions. In particular, he recommended an increase in inventory levels, anticipating rising prices, and keeping the customer service levels in mind. Mr. Sharma also stressed the good relations the company had with all its suppliers and how they can be relied upon for good service and possible extension of credit if the situation warrants it. Most of their suppliers brought their vacuum cleaners from Thakur manufacturing. Mr. Mir Chandani was not sure what action should be recommended. Questions. What recommendations would you make if you were Mir Chandani and why? Analyze the above recommendations in detail. Justify your arguments.
Okay, so this case study is a very, very basic case study for the brainstorming. Basically, this case study talks about various dimensions of the business. It talks about customization of the product. It talks about blanket purchase. It talks about technology. It talks about reducing the inventory level. It
More
talks
in
about
reducing cost of production, sir.
cost of production. Yeah. So this is talking about lot of things, and it is talking about the relationship of senior officials of the organization with the suppliers. It is talking about the wrong intentions of the existing people in the organization, right? So when we talk about entrepreneurship and when we talk about profit-making organization, it is not always the startup. It is the responsibility of the owner or the promoter to run the existing business organization very, very effectively. So let us have a quick discussion of 5 minutes. And what recommendations would you make if you were Mr. Mir Chandani, and why? As you can see here, Mr. Sharma was recommending many opposite actions. So whatever actions are suggested by Mr. Mir Chandani, and these are the 10 suggestions which are definitely for the benefit of the organization. So, but Mr. Sharma who is there in the organization for last many years, and there was no problem with the organization. But yes, definitely there was a problem of the profit earning. So, and there is a problem in the organization because Sharma has been there with the company for last 15 years, and there were no complaints, and production had never been stopped for the lack of material. But it is felt that if 20% cost reduction can be done, then it can be a great advantage for the organization to compete with the other players in the global market by reducing the prices or not increasing the prices. And at the same time, they could increase the sales of the company also. So let's have a quick discussion on this, that if you would have been Mir Chandani, then what would have been your action plan on this?
Sir,
Yes. Yes.
one way also, in case if do you want to then go about tying up with different competitors? Do you want to merge with competitors? Like a merger and acquisition kind of format, or do you want to go about changing your technology, or do you want to go about going into different markets to see if that kind, instead of reducing the price structure, do you get into a different market where that price is acceptable?
Okay. This is another dimension if you have added. And we were thinking of, having a discussion based on the data given, the problem and the suggestions S1 to S10 which are given. But you have added another dimension into it, that we can go for some merger and acquisition kind of thing. Okay. Anybody else would like to add? Yeah, Saurabh Kumar Srivastava. Okay. Swastika, are you there? Megha Yadav. Oh, Swastika has left the meeting. Great. Dirgha Sarma has left the meeting. Okay, so according to me, if nobody is responding, according to me,
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, maybe because we know that the person is experienced in the company himself. He has given suggestions, but maybe we can call him once again and explain the problem that what we are expecting from him, and work out on that and come back with something new as an alternative as well. Maybe he'll show more interest on that.
Yeah, this is definitely there, but from the case study, it seems that Mr. Sarma is in completely opposite direction, and he is not interested in any kind of changes. Even it is suggested that the inventory labels are, there for 75 days, and it is recommended that it can be reduced to inventory level of 30 days. That is reorder label I am talking about.
I read the points.
It is suggested that there has to be blanket purchase. It is suggested the use of barcode and RFID technology. Standardization of various
my
products.
point of view, which I would like to say, is that when you take the case of Mir Chandani, if he takes the risk of going a little bit opposite to that guy, he may affect the production levels immediately. So probably we need to tackle him a little bit carefully if you want anything from him. As well.
Yes.
From
So,
that point of view, I was just suggesting this.
Yes. But if you are removing Mr. Sarma, that can be an extreme situation. If you do not go for any changes, that can be another extreme situation.
Yes.
It means the situation.
Somewhere in the middle, we try to get a solution.
Right. So it needs to be handled very, very carefully. So instead of, enforcing all 10 decisions in one go, there can be an agreement between Mr. Sarma and Mir Chandani that let us start implementing these suggestions one by one over the period of 6 months to 1 year. And let's see the, the changes and the kind of benefits which we are getting for the organization. Right? Okay. So, so let me go to my presentation again. And
so would it be possible for you to just share these case studies, the two that
yeah,
you've done?
I will definitely. I will share the PPT also. Okay. I'll give you my PPT also, and everything I'll give you. No, great. Not to worry.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is what my topic is: innovation, incubation, and startup ecosystem in higher educational institutions in India. So as we all know that what innovation is, as you all were describing, that innovation is, having something new idea that can be a product, that may be a process, that may be a service, or whatever. So here the definition of innovation goes like: it is the introduction of any new idea, any goods, services, and practices which are intended to be useful for any organization. So here innovation does not apply only to the new organization. It is a continuous process, and it is to be practiced by each of the organization, and whether it is a new organization or whether it is an existing organization. So, and it has to be a continuous process. It has to be done time to time. The second definition from the topic comes up: startup. As we all understand, startup is a new business model or a new business proposed by any individual. So here a startup says an entity that develops a business model based on either a product innovation or service innovation. and makes it scalable, replicable, and self-reliant. This is very, very important. Nowadays, you may have seen n number of startups which have become unicorn, and they have created the wealth of crores of rupees. So they all are working on the model which is scalable, which is replicable, and which is self-reliant. These three things are very, very important when anybody is thinking of any kind of new business or any kind of a startup. If the scope of any startup is very limited, then it may not be feasible in the long run. It may survive for a shorter period of time, but in the long run, definitely it has to be taken care. Now, then coming to the another definition, which definitely in context to the higher educational system in India, and the government of India and AICT, UGC, everybody is promoting, even Department of Science and Technology is also supporting, that is the incubators. So they are facilitating the organizations and institutions to create business incubators, to become the facilitator in the institutions, to nurture the talent of the students, business ideas of the students, creativity of the children, so that they can come up with a very good feasible market idea, and they can create their startup right from when they are the students, or they can go up to a certain extent, and even after passing they can work on that idea and they can take it to the final sale. So in many higher educational institutions, you may see that this business incubator is working as a separate department, and it is run under different names given by different organizations. Like if you talk about EDI Ahmedabad, they are having a separate wing for it. They call it Cradle. Similarly, in some organization, it is under Entrepreneurship Development Cell. In different organizations, the name is different. So basically, Business Incubator is the organization that helps the startup companies and individual entrepreneurs to develop their businesses by providing a full-scale range of services, starting with the management training and office space and ending with venture capital financing. So it's not only helping the students so that their business idea is taking a particular shape, but taking them up to the level of venture capital financing. It means establishing the complete business and scaling up and growing up of the business till that level, supporting this business incubators. And you may have seen that in different institutions, they are having different models. Like one kind of model is that they are just promoting the business ideas and innovations and creativity and supporting the student, and there's a share of maybe 5%, 10%, or the institution becomes a stakeholder in that startup. Or sometimes if a startup is not taking any shape, in that case, yes, after passing out and after doing the job of 2 to 3 years in the any kind of industry, and people are taking up that idea ahead, and they are moving with the that business model. The other definition, which is in relation to that, comes the entrepreneurs. Definitely, as we all know, that entrepreneurs are the individuals or the persons who makes money. Definitely, if we talk about the why to become an entrepreneur, definitely the first and foremost, the objective behind becoming an entrepreneur is to make the money. And definitely, sometimes we are having a social entrepreneurship also. And sometimes we are having to solve the problems of the society. So there are various ways, but the prime objective of the entrepreneur is to become rich and make money by starting or running a business. Especially, so if we talk about what are the different categories of entrepreneurships or entrepreneurs, so there are majorly four categories of entrepreneurs. The first one is called innovator or a revolutionary entrepreneur. These people are very, very innovative, and they definitely look forward for a very, very unique idea of setting up the business. And you may have seen that if you rate out of the young generation entrepreneurs or those who have become entrepreneur in last 10 years, so Use is one of the example of become an innovative entrepreneur, wherein their worth is more than $12 billion. So that is one category of entrepreneur. The second category of entrepreneur is the aggressive. These kinds of entrepreneurs are very, very proactive, and they always seek an opportunity, and they always try to find the opportunity for solving the societal problem. I think we all know about the business model of Oyo Rooms of Ritesh Agrawal. Ritesh Agrawal, I have a video of Ritesh Agrawal also that we can play later on. Ritesh Agrawal was having, the habit of moving to various cities and having a lot of experience and exposure into visiting various places, and he was fond of that. So what he found that there is a very, very difficult task for the persons who want to live with comfort and in a tier 2 cities, or they want to spend only around 1,000 rupees. So the level of unbranded hotels, it is very difficult that they would be getting a similar kind of service. So he realized that in the tier 2 cities or in a low cost segment, the hotel industry is not able to perform properly, or the standardization is not there. So from where the idea of Oyo Rooms came to his mind. So that is one category of entrepreneur who are very, very aggressive. So we can discuss his case study in detail later on. Third category is the conservative kind of entrepreneurs. They are very moderate, and they use the moderate use of resources, and they try to protect their capital, and they move with this very, very slow pace, and they make their business model. And the fourth category of the entrepreneurs are questing. It means they take little pain, or they are getting the business from their parents. So they are not making much of the effort. So whatever is there, they have to just run that system. That's it. So they are not making much effort into it. Now, if we go in detail to the innovation, that the most important part in the innovation is the courage and energy. So because it requires a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of failures happens when we go for innovations. And then if we talk about innovations, then it's not necessary that whatever innovation you are talking about, that should be feasible in the market, that should be sustainable, and that should be commercially viable also. So that is also another aspect of innovation. As some of you have rightly pointed out, that if we talk about the innovations, then there are different types of innovations. We say product innovation, process innovation, market innovation, organizational innovation, and business model innovation. So the best example of the business model innovation is the Dell. When the Dell started, offering the customized computers to the customers. And when Dell started this kind of service, when there was no other competitor in the market, that whatever specification you give, the computer will be assembled and it would be supplied to you. So that was a very, very unique model. And we as a management teachers, we used to give the example of Dell to the students, and Dell was having a very uh, I should say, very simple supply chain. So there was no intermediary in between. So directly from the company, the product used to reach to the customer. It means, so even though the product was costly, but still the customer was getting it in a cheaper price, because the profit margin which used to be distributed amongst the channel partners in the downward supply chain was not getting distributed to the channel partners. So if you see a typical supply chain, there is a manufacturer, then after the manufacturer, there is a C&F agent, then a dealer, wholesaler, then retailer, then it comes to the customers. And here in this Dale model, there was a manufacturer and there was a customer. So this was a very, very innovative kind of business practice or business model which was developed by Dell. Then another business model which was developed by Amazon, when they in around 1990s they started selling books through the online, and later on, as on date, they are the number one in the world in selling the majorly FMCG products and many other products through their online store. So so these are the different types of innovation. So whatever type of innovation is done by any individual, that is later on converted into a business model, and finally it leads to the entrepreneurship and a startup by any individual. Now, when we talk about innovation, and then definitely the innovation and creativity moves together. Without creative skills, without creative thinking, we cannot reach to the level of innovations. So if we talk about what are the basic ingredients to the creativity, so it is described by the social psychologist Teresa Amabile, that there are three skills basically: domain skills, creative thinking skills, and intrinsic motivation skills. These are the three skills which are primarily responsible for the creativity of any individual. Now, how this creativity can be enhanced amongst children, because we are talking in reference to the educational institutions. So how this can be enhanced in the students? So the first and foremost thing is that a student should be encouraged to think, and there can be various activities which can be conducted in the organizations wherein the student can be forced to think logically, and they can put up their point, and there can be various various projects, there can be various debates, there can be various brainstorming sessions. So a lot of things can occur, and so the creativity can be enhanced. Another activity is the diversification, wherein it involves others in your problem solving efforts who brings a different perspective or a cultural experience than yours. It means we all are involved in one kind of activity, and if we are diversifying or we are going into another area of work, then definitely it enhances our exposure and experience, and that also definitely helps the individuals. Then relaxation is another activity which helps the creativity. And as a human being, what we try, we try to look for we look for a right answer out of different answers. Our thinking is only unidirectional. So if we start looking at many answers or many probable solution to the problem, that can also enhance our creativity. So there can be various exercises, various kind of activities which can enhance the creativity of the individuals. If we talk about as we all know that for the entrepreneurship or for the startup, innovation is the key framework. Innovation is the key. So this is what the innovation framework is, wherein we talk about we must know that what exactly we are looking for. So at the bottom of this pyramid, the important part is find what you love to do. So definitely it has to match our interest, whether we would like to be happy with the job serving others, or we would like to stretch ourselves and maybe struggle for 3 to 5 years and would like to create our own venture. So that we have to first think, then only the things can be decided. Nowadays, you may have seen that many IITians are coming up with these startups, and some of them are coming directly after graduating from IITs. Some of them are coming to the startups after 3 to 5 years of their experience in the business, in the organizations. And some of them decides to be in the job itself, and some of them are opting for the UPSC examination, and they want to serve the country. So it is very, very important for the concern to understand that what really they are looking for in their life. So so one should become the passionate about the field they want to be in, and then accordingly they should start seeking the opportunities, that what can be the various opportunities in what areas of operations. Then they can identify the problems or opportunities which are available. Then accordingly the objectives can be set, and this can be clearly defined objectives. This can be short-term objectives, long-term objectives, that where they want to reach, what they want to achieve. And if they have any idea in their mind, then they have to seek the novelty in that idea, design, whatever, and they should just start doing it. This is very, very important. Many a times what happens, if you have some idea in your mind and you are thinking for 3 to 5 years, then the time you will start the business in that area, and by that time it is an old idea, and it will not survive in the market. So this is very, very important for all the students and every individual to move ahead with this. Now coming to, because we have studied it theoretically, so now I am coming to one of the case study which is there. So then we can discuss how a small idea can help the organization or an individual. So are you getting me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the small case study of a 12 years old boy who have started a company in Mumbai, and how the small idea can be converted into a big business venture. Let us see this. Okay, let us see one more video of just a minute, Oyo, then we will discuss.
So I spent my childhood in a really, really small town called Raigada district. This is the place where I was born. It was called Bisamkatak. So it's southern half of Orissa, Andhra Pradesh border, very Naxal infested. Just to give you some background about this place, the national average of literacy is something like 60 or 70%. Orissa's literacy average is something like 60%. The average literacy rate of Raigada district is less than 20%. So I had a very crazy and sort of tough childhood, especially because of the extremism that the town was going through at that point of time and probably goes through now as well. I think at a lot of levels, it was a blessing in disguise for me because I was not one of the usual kids, because I couldn't make a lot of friends. I couldn't spend a lot of time like a lot of other people did, and so on and so forth. I was thankful to my family for being able to send me to a school. And this was a Catholic school, which they used to pay $3 a month as my school fees for. God bless that school. But had a great opportunity and a great childhood. During this period, was the first time I heard the word entrepreneur. My sister, our eldest sister, used to be among the inspiration for all the younger guys because she'd done well for herself. My sister was an inspiration, and she one day showed up at a house and said, I was back at this entrepreneurship event at our college, and I felt this sounds like a cool word. I went on Google. Google used to be really slow. I used to pay for this 150 rupee broadband. Even Google used to have this rotating thing like loading. And I figured what that was, didn't get what it was, but I felt this sounds really cool and this is what I want to become. So you remember childhood days when you have all the children and teacher asking you what you aspire to become? Everyone would say engineer, doctor. And I used to say entrepreneur. Like that's what I used to feel it felt like. And everyone used to be like, this guy's gone crazy. But that is the level of commitment and clarity I had. And it sounds very crazy for an 8-year-old. That is what I wanted to become. And I felt so deeply about it. Post my 10th grade, everyone in my school used to go to one of the senior high school or universities in the same state. So I felt I wanted to do something different. So I came to the northern half of the country, and I used to travel through my childhood across the coastal areas in really cheap, like those general train boxes through my childhood. Then I had this opportunity of going to the northern part of the country because I really wanted to discover hills. That was a secret. Like my family never knew that. They felt our child wants to study. And my dad always wanted me to just come back and work with him at his shop. But really wanted to avoid that for a long enough period of time. I'm glad I have. So when I went there, I used to literally take weekend buses, Volvo buses that go to Uttarakhand, Himachal, and a bunch of these places. And every pocket money and so I used to do internships with various companies. I would say I'd work for anything that you would give me just for traveling. And every weekend, I would write emails to these hotel owners, these resort owners, etc., and say, guys, can you please let me stay for free? I want to solve something in this sector someday. Some of them would give it to me for free. Some of them would give me discounts. And a lot of them would say, screw you. Like, we want you to pay the whole price. I didn't care a lot. So over this period, I got the opportunity to stay across 100 places in this country in more than 200 properties. So it sounds like a less number, but considering you just have 365 days in a year, and it is just 4 years back that I'm talking about, it was almost, at one point of time, I didn't show up at my school for 4 months and I was just traveling. So it was really crazy. I had this instant hunger of sort of saying, I want to solve something in this sector. I mean, why do I have to go through these experiences where I can't discover these places which are extremely affordable, which I always get to know after going to this town? So it used to always happen. I would land into a town, wherever these bad owners would have asked me to pay the whole amount. That's the Marwari in me. But really, I would try and find other hotels, and I'd find places that were really affordable. So I felt I wanted to solve it. As I say, necessity is the mother of invention. So I started Moravel, which is India's first marketplace of villas, serviced apartments, bed and breakfast, etc., etc. Did it for a period of 6 months and continued to travel during that period as well. So this whole travel was happening during this period as well. Now what happened was this. The bulb would have glowed, but it did not. For 6 months, my failure trail in life continued. I failed in 2 companies before OYO came up. The reality was, during the 6 months, everyone who stayed with us came back with issues that were significantly different. Everyone came back saying, just to give you a jigsaw of experiences, We land the city, call the hotel owner, he won't pick the phone, reach the hotel, no signboards, reach inside the receptionist is sleeping topless, get in the bedroom, mattresses torn apart, washroom don't have water, they're leaking all the time, breakfast has wounds, can't pay by credit card, and so on and so forth. I felt terrible about it. And you know what? When I felt that this problem, I started talking to a lot of people I knew, and I said, I want to solve this problem. There is this real problem out there, which is of having predictable experiences in these hotels. Why don't I solve it? And almost everyone told me, hey, you know what? This is not scalable. Like this is, anyone who's been in this entrepreneurial community would hear this word and jargon very often. But you know what? I had heard something amazing, which I felt very deeply about, and I did a lot of reading, right? Steve Jobs once said, innovation is what differentiates leaders versus followers. So I felt like I want to be a leader. I want to be someone who creates and solves for something and doesn't do something for the sake of building a business. So I felt even if I operate just 2 hotels, I will operate them so well that consumers will at least have a better experience from what they have today. Maybe it won't be foolproof. Maybe it won't be one of the 5 stars, but it'll be definitely way better than what consumers have today. And they can predict what kind of experiences they're going to get. During the same period came the turning period of my life. This was right after my senior high school. I told my parents that I was going to college. I joined a college in Delhi. I went there for 2 days and I felt I'll go there the next day. And one day I took a leave to continue building Oracle, which was slowly becoming into more predictable experiences. And I kept postponing that one day. And that one day kept pushing to 6 months. So my family didn't know that I was actually not going to college. And I was staying back there building this company. And I applied for this random thing called the TL Fellowship. This was end of 2013. Crazy stuff. During this period, what's quite funny is, the application form was the most funniest part. So I applied. So the deadline is the 31st of December. And I applied in the morning of January the 1st because the reality is this is Pacific Standard Time versus Indian Standard Time, and this helped me. So I never knew I would actually make it because there was no Indian as a part of this fellowship. So just to give you a background, Peter Thiel started this thing. Peter is the founder of PayPal, one of the largest investors in Facebook, and a bunch of large tech companies. And his view of the world is people who want to create disproportionate value and solve large problems. They don't need the education of college. They need education regardless, and he could provide that education by enabling open mentorship. So I thought that was a great thing. So he basically gives $100,000 to 20 people under the age of 20. Acceptance rates are lower than MIT, Stanford, and a bunch of these Ivy Leagues. The catch is you're to drop out of college. I felt this was amazing, that you get paid not to go to college. Like, who gets that? So I applied. I was feeling excited about it just because of the whole application process, right? It asked me questions like, what is that one contrarian thing that you think about this world that everyone else thinks you're nuts about? And I felt, if you were trying to do something inspirational and amazing, you're actually going to go nuts so many more times. So got the opportunity to become a TL fellow, first Asian resident. So it was the most amazing period of my life. Built OYO rooms. I think I'd love to share a little bit about how OYO rooms got built. Through this period, we've disrupted a broader industry in this country, which was sluggish for the last 10 years, and today is among the most exciting industries in the last two and a half months, right? In the last 1.5 years, people used to tell me I've gone nuts a year and a half back. Today we have, for the first time in India, a company has innovated, created itself into what we've built ourselves. We have 44 clones today across 15 countries, which are getting financed every regular day to be modeled around OYO rooms. And today there is an OYO for real estate, OYO for washing machines, OYO for whatnot at this point of time as we scale. We feel excited about having done something like this, but what it came with is average of 3 death threats a week from real estate guys. They don't like us, right? Because you basically went down and disrupted something as amazing as this. And what I wanted to share about it is, every time something like this happens, don't be scared. When you're there to put a dent in the universe, people are going to get unhappy with you, but that doesn't really matter. So today, we are across the country, we call it Har Jagah OYO. And as we build ourselves, we've built ourselves into India's largest branded hotel network. and what we aspire to become is the world's largest hotel network ever over the next couple of years from right here in India. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have seen two case studies right now. One is a case study of a very young boy, 13 years old, and who has come up with the idea when he was not able to find his books on the same day. And actually, he didn't tell that. His book was costing 100 rupees, and the book was delivered to him, and it was the total charge he paid to the book for the book, that was 200 rupees as a parcel charges. So from where the idea came to the Tilak Mehta's mind, that why not to open a company which can serve the society and it can resolve the problem. Similar is the case with Ritesh Agrawal, OYO.com, right? So we as a teachers, because here our topic is always is the having the startup innovation ecosystem in the educational institutions, right? Can you please put on the videos? We have 5-7 minute discussions. Then I'll come back to my presentation again. Yeah. So we have just seen the two case studies wherein there was really a problem of the society. That problem has been solved. So here in this lecture, in this session, we are supposed to discuss how the startup ecosystem can be developed in our educational institutions, right? So what do you feel, Nishant? Can you tell me, can you introduce yourself, please, which organization you belong to and what is your opinion about it? Then I'll come to my presentation.
I'm from IHM Aurangabad, Institute of Hotel Management, Aurangabad.
Great.
Just one moment.
Okay.
Okay, so my point of view is I connected with the Peter Thiel Fellowship, but I don't know how feasible it will be with the whole idea of having people just drop out of college and just get into entrepreneurship. So even the people who will take that would be hardly 2-3% of the entire population also. So and it's also how our society also accepts entrepreneurs in general. First, it used to be like business is very risky, you should not do business, versus now when you want to promote people taking entrepreneurship up, I think it requires a mindset change from families itself, like at the more societal level, and families accepting that entrepreneurship is a way of life and can be a source of revenue.
Right. Great. So anybody else can express their opinion that how the entrepreneurial or startup ecosystem can be developed in educational systems. Saurabh Srivastava, Rohit Mehta, are you there? I think most of the participants has put off their video and put their mobile phones in the drawer and have gone somewhere. It seems like it has to be very, very interactive. It is not the one that I should be, delivering a monologue. I would be talking only and you will be listening. We all are teachers. I'm also a teacher like you. Maybe I may be having 10 years more experience than you, nothing else. So it has to be a brainstorming session. It has to be a discussion. We can learn a lot of things from each other. Okay, now coming to the what should be the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. Although in the last 2 days you may have already discussed that with other experts, but these are the few basic skills which are required in anybody, whether we are a professor or we are anybody, or it is your student. So they must have these skills in them. Then only they can think of becoming entrepreneur. Creativity is the most important aspect in the personality of the student. Second is the risk-taking behavior, because as one of the participants was pointing out that people are afraid of becoming an entrepreneur, starting a company, because you never know for how many years you have to be you have to bear the losses, and whether you can come up or not. Still, you may have seen there are a lot of companies like Zomato or many other companies which started in last few years. They are making every year crores of rupees of losses. But yes, so risk taking is another important characteristic of the personality. Passion is another important, because जिसको हम जुनून कहते हैं कि भाई I will keep on doing, doesn't matter whether I am making losses or not. So these are the three most important skills: creativity, risk taking, and the passion. Now then comes the other skills, like one has to be very good in planning. Professional approach has to be developed. Knowledge, definitely, because if you are talking about any launching any product or service, there has to be a detailed and deep understanding of that subject. You must know who are your competitors, what can be the market size, where you want to expand, and how much you want to make your business scalable. So all these skills are very important. Now coming to for some of the models, like social skills are very important. So unless we have the social skills, the social problems cannot be resolved. Open-mindedness and towards learning, people, and even failures. Empathy and respect for the customers. Nowadays, as we all know, that customer is the king. And when we talk about customer should not be only satisfied, but the customer has to be delighted. So we have to give the more better customer experience. It is beyond the value of money. The customer is paying money and we are delivering something to the customer, but we have to think beyond that are we able to give them value for money and customer delight? If it is there, then only we can be successful in our endeavors. This is what this slide is talking about. What are the latest trends wherein the most of the startups are coming up? So AI and IoT based applications, this is the most emerging area, and the most of the tech people are those who are passing out from IITs and ITs, BITS, Pilani, or something like that, triple ITs. So they all are working on AI and IoT based applications. Wearable devices are, yes, these are still related to information technology and electronics. Now a lot of fintech companies are coming. You may have heard of, there are a lot of apps like Grow, and there are many more which are coming up with share market and mutual fund and etc. Payments, a lot of companies which came up in the last few years, whether it is a Google Pay or it is a Paytm or any other company. So that is another area wherein the startups are coming. Health is another area wherein a lot of startups are coming. Agrotech is again another area which is also coming up. Mobiles, FMCG, retail chain network, wholesale network. So there are a lot of companies who are the competitors of the Amazon, like Flipkart, Snapdeal, Big Basket, many more. And social problem solving is another area which is emerging out. So these all are the trends which are going to be alive for next 10 years at least. So this we can guide to our students that yes, you can work on these areas. Now, if we talk about creating a system for the startup kind of culture in the organization or in our institutions, so how the new ideas can be generated, what can be the various sources of creating new ideas? So the first and foremost is the consumers. Now, when we start, interacting with the consumers, they can always share their product experience. They can always share their feelings, their satisfaction level. And so the new things emerges out when we talk to the consumers. And you may have heard the case study of the sachet shampoo, which was invented in around 1985, when the people who were traveling and they were facing the problem of, carrying the shampoo with them. And number one, second was the cost of that. Say somebody forgot to take the shampoo with them, so they need to purchase a shampoo of minimum 50 ml, and with that time it was costing around 10 rupees. So there was an idea in the mind of the, I think Sunsilk was the first organization wherein they brought in the sachet shampoo pouch of 1 rupees that time. So, so consumer experience is the major source of, new idea generation. Existing products and services, we should keep on always exploring that what are the existing products, what are the existing services. Can we add some more features into it? Can we make customer experience better while using the product or service? That can be another source of getting the new ideas. Distribution channels, yes, distribution channel is one of the major problem area, and we can resolve a lot of problems. Like you may have heard of DMart. So DMart is the chain of FMCG products. We can say retailer, and you can say wholesaler also. Because what DMart is doing, DMart is purchasing the products, we call it blanket purchase from the direct manufacturer, and they are saving on the cost of 35 to 40%. And DMart is directly selling to the customers, and they are offering 10 to 15% discount on every product. And DMart has become, one of the biggest and fastest growing organization in last 10 years. And they have more than 300 outlets as on date, when they started with only one outlet 10 years before. So this is what the distribution channel is. One of the another example of a new startup is the Udaan. Udaan is the one which is connecting the business to business organizations, wherein they have connected thousands of it is a B2B organization, so they are connecting thousands of suppliers and purchasers over the network through the mobile app, and they are going to be benefited. I also have the case study of Udaan. I can share the copy of it with you after the lecture. Government can be another important source for the new ideas, because government comes up time to time with various schemes, and they are looking for the partners who can help them in implementing those schemes. And from those schemes itself, a lot of ideas emerges out that how a new venture can be started to support the government schemes. R&D organizations are definitely another source of getting the new ideas for the new product or new service. And definitely society is a major source from where we can look for the small problems of the society, and we can come up with the ventures like paper and parcel and OYO rooms, etc. So these are the some of the sources. There can be more sources, but these are the some of the major sources. Methods of generating ideas, how the ideas can be generated. These are the basic 4 methods wherein we can talk about because all these are the things which we can create for our students within the organization, so that they can generate on new ideas. Because we can have ideation competition, and we can also have the business plan competition. So these are the things which can create good ideas. There can be group of 10 persons, and they can have different aspects of a particular problem discussion. So focus group discussion is definitely focus group is a group of 10 persons sitting in a round table, and they're discussing on some aspect of the business or some aspect of the problem, maybe of the society, maybe of the country, maybe of anything that may be of any particular product or service. So that focus group can be one of the method of generating ideas. Another can be the brainstorming. Again, a group of 5 to 10 persons would be sitting, and they would be brainstorming on one or two aspects, and they would be coming up with some 4 or 5 alternative ideas, alternative solutions to the problem. Then again they can churn it out and they can reach to the best of the problem. Then comes the brain writing. Here the difference between brainstorming and brain writing is whatever is the idea coming and discussion is happening, one of the participants can keep on writing. So writing part is done so that they will not forget later on that what has been discussed. And sometimes this brain writing can continue for more number of days. Not you should reach to the conclusion on any single point in time. Then problem inventory analysis is another aspect of reaching to the idea. Like the problem can be categorized into different areas, and relating to the different sub areas, the various subtopics can be written. Like say for example, if you are talking about manufacturing a biscuit, or a biscuit in a factory, you are talking about that you would like to come up with the very digestive kind of biscuits. So there can be one problem area can be the distribution channel, another can be the production line, third can be the raw material, fourth can be the packaging, and so on. In each of the sub areas, different type of problems can be written, and then further explored, discussed, and finally conclude that what can be the optimal solution for resolving each type of problem. So these are the various methods of generating ideas. Now coming to the creative problem solving. So these are some of the methods of creative problem solving, because if you are able to reach out to the problem, then you need to resolve that problem. So what can be the various methods? One can be the brainstorming, then can be reverse brainstorming. Then there is a Gordon method, wherein we are developing a new idea when individuals are unaware of the problem. So we are not telling the problem, we are talking in general about a scenario wherein the different type of problem from that scenarios are taken out by the individuals, and they will come out with the solution to that problem. So then later on our problem is disclosed to the participants, and again they brainstorm on that. There's another method that's called a checklist method, wherein we are doing the checklist on various aspects of the problem solving. Free association, again freedom is given to the individuals to express themselves. Forced relationship is another method. Collective notebook method, attribute listing, big dream approach. So these are various methods through which creative problem solving can be done by the individuals. Parameter analysis, again identifying some parameters to address the problem in a better way. Let me give you the one of the example. I think those who are from management institution, they may understand. Parasubraman and Jitmal has explored service quality dimensions. They explored 6 dimensions of service quality in 1986. But later on, various types of industries or organizations have been added into service industry. And educational institutions, after 2005, educational institutions were also rated, and they were listed amongst the service providing organizations. So need was felt that how the quality of services can be measured in educational institutions. So somebody came up with the PhD thesis in 2009. So I used to be the evaluator of that thesis. So that lady got to know, and she explored 11 dimensions of, or we can say parameters of measuring the service quality in the educational institutions. And to a surprise, the most important dimension which was emerged out, that was the vision of the top management. As we know that there are thousands of private educational institutions in the country, and we all are struggling to get the quality education to the children. So the vision of the top management plays a very, very significant role in delivering the quality education to the children. And out of 100%, the vision itself contributed around 20% out of the 11 dimensions. So parameters can be explored, and we can start working on those parameters. Then if we have already explored that the either for the product or a service. So product planning and development process can involve these stages, which we talk about. Opportunity recognition or need analysis is the first stage. Establishing the evaluation criteria. Ideation stage is another. Then concept stage, product development stage, test marketing stage, development of the website, mobile app, creation of the social media accounts, and planning for the sources of funds. So these are the very, very important processes for developing any product. Now coming to what are the facilities which we can develop in our educational system. So these are some of the activities which I tried to explore, and it is through my experience of last 25 years in the educational institutions. So are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So how we can develop the creative kind of and innovation kind of environment in our institutions? What are the activities which we plan for our students so that they will learn more? Nothing new in it. You all may be knowing all these things, but I'm just trying to brief you what are the things. And what we practice here at Sage University Bhopal, the first is the project-based learning, right? So what we do under this, in the project-based learning, right from semester 1, we expose the student to work in groups. So what they do, irrespective of program they are studying, whether they are in BA program or BSc or BBA or BCom or engineering, everybody has to do project-based learning. So what they are supposed to do, they are supposed to make a small project, and at the end of the semester, they are supposed to submit a report of around 20 pages. What are they learning through this? Through this project, firstly, they are working in the group. So they learn how to coordinate, how to plan, how to lead, how to make presentation better, and how to get a new idea for any project. So, and in the meantime, during the semester also, 2 times they make presentation to the panel. So it is never evaluated by an individual. There is a supervisor, but it is evaluated always by the panel. So what this inculcates the creative thinking environment within the university, and there is a feel that they come up with very, very good ideas. Even recently, our first semester student came up with a very good idea of a special kind of BD, which is a combination of BD and cigarette, which was a very, very cost effective. So this is helping the children to innovate and develop their creativity. Another activity which can be conducted is the experiential learning. I think you all may be aware about experiential learning, wherein we are trying to teach the concepts to the students through the real life projects or real life learnings, taking the student to the fields. Like for example, under experiential learning, we are asking the student for role play, asking the student to do case study, asking the student to screen a movie and submit a review report of it and what is their learning. Taking the student to the, we take the students of agriculture to the field, and they are asked to see the different varieties of flowers. And we give them assignment to click the photograph, identify the flower, and write the characteristics of these categories of flowers. So that way, even in our journalism and mass communication, we take the student for the real photography sessions, and we give them some of the photographs and ask them to identify that what are the basic characteristics in this photography. So a lot of new areas emerges out. Student becomes more inquisitive, they becomes more creative, and so on. The third approach which can be there, students' involvement in the research, live projects, and problem solving. What we do, we involve the students in problem solving, like we are having NSS unit, NCC unit. So we are involving them, the students, like they should go to the city, and they should try to help the maybe Bhopal Nagar Nigam for resolving their problems, or suggesting them new solutions, etc. Similarly, we are also involving the students for live project, working on the live projects. We are sending the final year students and even third year students for 2 to 3 months to work in the industry on live projects and come back. When they work on live projects, they come up with very good ideas. And research final year students of post graduation, we have made it compulsory to publish at least 2 research papers. One can be a literature review based paper, and another can be the paper based on the work of the student. So through this research, and one of them has to be a Scopus publication. So they are also, through this also, they are coming up very good new ideas and creative ideas. And for the especially entrepreneurship, we can time to time create organize entrepreneurship awareness camps for the children, and faculty development programs like this program which you are attending. Such faculty development programs of 1 week duration, 2 week durations can be conducted, and these programs can be sponsored by either ATAL or maybe by DST or any other organization. Innovation competition is another area wherein students can be encouraged, and there can be intra-university, there can be inter-university competitions which can be organized time to time. Hackathons are the ones again which can be conducted in the university within as well as the inter-university competition. Exhibitions can be conducted, conferences can be organized, expert talks with the scientists and entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs can be organized on regular basis, so that students can be benefited out of it. Special training programs on entrepreneurship, especially this can be for those who are having a better business idea, whose business idea is already tested. So they can be given special training on entrepreneurship, web development, social entrepreneurship, digital marketing, sales management, financial management, project management, etc. Interaction with the the promoters of the successful startups can be also done, and programs by the industries or governments are conducted time to time, so that can be hosted in our own institutions. These can be one or some of the activities. Then again, after that, you can say the entrepreneurship development cell and the incubation center can be established in organization. So what an institution should do for the startup ecosystem? Basically, we are talking about we should have a startup ecosystem in an institution. So what we are supposed to do, because the earlier slide I was talking about what activities can be conducted.
Yeah, I just have a question here, if I can.
Please.
What is the requirement to start up an entrepreneurship cell or an incubation center?
See, basically, it all depends on which stage of the maturity in your institution you are in, right? Okay. So what we can do, you can begin with a room with 200 square feet of place, okay? Wherein you can have some of the literature available. You can install few computers there with internet connectivity, with few journals, And there can be a free time. The student, you can say whatever is the time of your college, say 3 to 5 p.m. You can allow the students who are having that kind of mindset, they can go there, sit there, brainstorm, and come up with the and a teacher can be available and with whom they can discuss. This is the first stage, and that is the beginner's stage, wherein you do not have any idea. So a student just starts collecting who are similar minded, or they want to create any kind of a startup in future, or any blood idea they may have. Then you can say time to time you can organize, as I told you in the previous slide, that any activity can be conducted which can support them. Like in this slide, you can have hackathons, you can have business plan competition. So the teaching can be given how to create a business plan, how to create a budget, how to create a planning for marketing, and so on and so forth. Once a training can be given, as I told you, entrepreneurship awareness camp can be given. And so through entrepreneurship awareness camp, you will be able to find out that, the really interested students, everybody may not be interested in entrepreneurship. So those students can be supported for various types of activities, and they can be given a training. A person, any entrepreneur can be invited, and half day they can be having informal interaction with an entrepreneur. So these are the things. Now coming to the आप ये सोचेंगे कि क्या वहां पर टेक्नोलॉजिकली क्या होना चाहिए. So
नहीं सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली ये है क्योंकि हम लोग सब मतलब एटलीस्ट मैं मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट से हूँ, जिधर टेक्नोलॉजी इज नॉट प्राइमरी फोकस.
okay,
so and we for us it's a service industry, so we have a service focus.
okay.
उसके लिए ऐसा मतलब इंडस्ट्री के लिए what is the entrepreneurship self first of all, because I've been reading all the documents, everything very technology focused. Now if technology is not the focus, then what?
जी अभी आप इफ यू रिमेम्बर थोड़ी देर पहले हमने एक केस स्टडी आपसे पेपर एंड पार्सल का स्टडी किया था. सो पेपर एंड पार्सल केस स्टडी में नो टेक्नोलॉजी इज इन्वॉल्व.
Correct.
No technology is involved. So what is there? There's only concept. He is having the app, and that app can be prepared by anybody by paying 10,000 rupees, not more than that.
Okay.
So what is there? First, identification of the problem of the society.
Okay.
Then brainstorming on it, how it can be solved, what can be the probable avenues of resolving that problem. Like he has explored that there are Mumbai Dabba Walas who are existing for last 150 years in the country. They are delivering more than 2 lakhs of tiffins every day. They reaches to the every corner of Bombay city. So why can't they approach to them, and if they can deliver 3 to 4 couriers every day, one person, so it is a win-win situation. It is a win-win situation for the customer. It is a win-win situation for the Mehta, and it is a win-win situation for the Dabbawala also.
Correct. Okay.
So
Got it.
this kind of brainstorming, innovative thinking kind of environment needs to be created. So
Okay.
yeah. Anybody
Sorry.
else is having any question? Okay, so let me move ahead. So what basically in the startup ecosystem, what we need to do is we have to create a conducive environment for the entrepreneurship, which I am talking about. So the first stage is you can have a 200 square feet of place, air conditioned, with 3 to 4 round tables there, with 2-3 laptops or computers installed into it, with a good internet connectivity, some of some hard copies of journals, and some stories of the successful entrepreneurship, etc. Then later stage comes when if you are doing science and technology based entrepreneurship, then adjacent to that there can be a computer lab, there can be an electronics lab wherein you can have a CRO, function generator, microprocessor, and so on, soldering devices and all that. So any work relating to IoT, artificial intelligence, there can be some mechanical kind of, devices can be put in there. So electrical, electronics, robotics, that kind of research can be conducted in the adjacent room. So, and so on, depending upon if somebody is doing a biotechnology based research, then a lab can be there, which is taking care of the high-end research on biotechnology or microbiology and so on. So coming to the, the first and foremost thing is we have to create a conducive environment for the entrepreneurship. Second is the facilitate, improve, promote, train and support creative thinking, idea generation and inventions. We need to provide infrastructure, and once our idea is tested, then we need to provide a seed funding. Seed funding is a basic kind of funding which is required to start that business. That may be that may vary from 1 lakh rupees to maybe 10 lakhs rupees, 20 lakhs rupees, depending on the type of business which somebody is proposing. And mentoring to the startups, that it can be done. So link business ecosystem entrepreneurs for a creative, result-driven environment to activate growth and economic vitality. Our ecosystem can be built of angels and institutional investors. Angel investors are the ones, we all know that, who are giving the initial fundings to the organization to grow. Then later on, we can build institutional investors. Then industry experts can be added into it, mentors can be added, and so on. We have to enable startups for the successful exit from the incubator by providing the assistance and external fundraising, custom acquisition, etc. And R&D infrastructure is definitely required. So these are the, the same thing has been, identified in bulleted points. So any startup, what activities are to be performed? So definitely the first and foremost thing is the problem identification. So problem has to then comes to ideation, then value proposition, pattern recognition, validating the idea, creating the business plan, minimum viable products. So angel investment has to be done. Then small business loans can be taken from the banks or any NBFCs, venture capitalist, crowdfunding, and understanding the value of quality service or quality product. These are the various activities which can be conducted. And if we talk about the various, I'll run up the various slide because it's 5 already. So these are the IIT Delhi has created these unicorns. Here unicorn means those who have created the worth of $1 billion, that is 7,500 crore rupees. So these are the recent startups who has been unicorns from IIT Delhi, entrepreneurship development, Flipkart, Zomato, Coacity, Policy Bazaar, Delivery, Quicker, Udan, Pine Labs, Snapdeal, Revigo. Revigo is a very, very important kind of, business innovation. You can say this Revigo is the organization which is tech-based, which is facilitating the transporters, basically truck owners. Say if a truck is to depart from Delhi to Chennai and it takes 15 days, if a driver is going from Delhi to Chennai, so and then he has to come back with another truck, then so he has to come back in 30 days, say 15 days is one side time. So there used to be a lot of discomfort to the drivers, and their families were disturbed and everything. So what he has done, he has made a technology based setup and recruited various drivers, that a driver need not to travel for more than 250 kilometers. So around in 5 hours for 250 kilometers truck is driven. Then he has created various stop points wherein another truck coming from opposite direction will also stop, and the drivers, so that the driver who have driven say from Bombay to from Delhi to Jaipur, and he will return with another truck, and the other person will return with this truck. So that kind of ecosystem has been developed, and it's a very, very important startup, and it has become unicorn. And these are the startups which has originated from NITI Mumbai. I'm not reading it. I'll share the PPT with you. You can go through it. Cradle is the startup ecosystem with EDI Ahmedabad. So 13 startup has been graduated from Cradle in the last few years, and presently 23 more startups are working, like Univia. It is an agri-tech company, then Ficolink, wastewater management, and so on. So for the organization, there are various funding schemes available, and we can take the advantage of that. So I'm just quickly going through the various funding opportunities available. I'm just so AICT has also come up with the national startup policy. You can go through it. These are the important areas which they have talked about. ATAL Innovation Mission is one of the government schemes which is giving the ATAL incubation centers in the country. Duration of the project is 5 years, and they are funding up to 10 crores of rupees. New Generation Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Center, New Generation IEDC, it is called as. This is the project of National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board, NSTDEB, and the implementing agency is the EDI Ahmedabad. Again, duration is 5 years and up to 5 crores of funding they are giving. Another initiative of Government of India is through DST, that they call it NIDI. So NIDI TBI. TBI stands for Technology Business Incubators. So again, they are supporting the technology-based incubation centers in the institutions, and they are providing grants up to 3 crores and 5 years duration. There's another, inclusive TBI, NIDI inclusive TBI, ITBI we call it, and it is given to those who are already TBI or they have already started the incubation center. It is the additional support given to them. Then again, NIDI EIR is another scheme which is supported by DST. So this is available. Then seed support program is another scheme under NIDI only. Then there's a program called Prayas, promoting and accelerating young and aspiring technology entrepreneurs. Again, the support system is there. STEP is another scheme. STED is another scheme. Startup India is again a Government of India scheme which they launched in 2016. E-Risk portal is there, which is supporting a lot of organizations to grow and excel in their businesses. Then SIP EIP is another scheme. Multiplier grants scheme, software technology parks, loan for rooftop solar PV power projects. DIDF is the Dairy Processing Infrastructure Development Scheme. Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. Startup India scheme has got generated, a lot of data, and this is the data from 2016 till December 2020. They are able to have 41,317 startups, 4.7 lakhs jobs created, 4,509 crores of investment is made. So this is all the data available. 590 districts have been covered with at least one startup. Women directors are there in 44% of the startups. 30 states and unions are covered, and so on. This is the complete data. These are the various states from where the startups came up in the last few years, 5 years. This is the sector-wise startups. The maximum startups came in IT and ITS industry, 20%, as I was telling, 11% in healthcare and life sciences. And these are some of the meetings. Invest India is another scheme which is connecting the investors to various entrepreneurs. Well, to see this,
14 से 16 जुलाई भारतीय स्टॉक मार्केट में भारतीय स्टार्टअप जगत के इतिहास का सबसे बड़ा दिन बन गया। जानते क्यों? 2021 का सबसे बड़ा आईपीओ आया, जोमेटो का आईपीओ 38 टाइम्स ओवर सब्सक्राइब हुआ, वो भी कोरोना की मंदी में, जब एक तरफ लोग कह रहे पैसा नहीं है, अरे सिर्फ 9,375 करोड़ मांगे थे, छप्पर फाड़ के लोगों ने बीट डाली, 2 लाख करोड़ से ज्यादा की बीट आई, 2 लाख करोड़। और दोस्तों लास्ट 2 फाइनेंशियल ईयर में 3,500 करोड़ से ज्यादा का लॉस देने वाली कंपनी को ऐसा रिस्पॉन्स। और कायदे से कहा जाए तो जिस कंपनी ने भाई 1 रुपए का सिक्का नहीं कमाया, 1 रुपए का सिक्का, उसका मार्केट कैप 60,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा। तभी हर्ष गोयनका जैसे एथिकल सिद्धांतवादी उद्योगपति को फाइनली ट्वीट करना पड़ा। क्या ट्वीट करना पड़ा? टॉप 20 होटल्स, वो भी ग्लोबल इंडियन चेन्स की टॉप 20 होटल्स का टोटल वैल्यूएशन 40,000 करोड़। भारत के टॉप 6 QSR चेन्स का टोटल वैल्यूएशन 60,000 करोड़। और अकेले जोमेटो का 60,000 करोड़, वो भी इतना लॉस खाने के बाद। ये वैल्यूएशन का गेम वाकई में दिमाग हिला देता है। और जोमेटो की शादी चल रही है, स्टार्टअप की बारात निकल रही है, भाई नायिका नाच रही है, मोबीक्विक चिल्ला रहा है जल्दी आओ, पेटीएम पैसे उड़ा रहा है, डिलीवरी गिफ्ट्स की डिलीवरी ले रहा है, पॉलिसी बाजार, ओला, फ्लिपकार्ट, एक से एक वीआईपी बाराती जश्न मना रहे हैं। अरे जश्न क्यों ना मनाए, हिंदुस्तान जैसा कॉस्ट कॉन्शियस देश एक ऐसी कंपनी को बाहें फैलाकर शिकार कर रहा है जिसने हजारों करोड़ का लॉस दिया। ये बताता है हिंदुस्तान ने, आम हिंदुस्तानी ने फाइनली वैल्यूएशन के कंसेप्ट को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। और जितने भी स्टार्टअप्स इसके बाद आएंगे उनको सिर्फ वीसीज के पैसों पर डिपेंड नहीं रहना पड़ेगा। देश का आम हिंदुस्तानी आपके भीतर पैसा लगाने को तैयार है। आज मैं आपको बताऊंगा जोमेटो पैसे कैसे कमाता है, स्टार्टअप खोलते हुए किन चीजों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए। आज मैं आपको बताऊंगा जोमेटो के अंदर की रणनीतियां, ढेर सारे अद्भुत किस्से। और आज मुझे गर्व है, उज्जवल पाटनी यूट्यूब चैनल एक बार फिर फर्स्ट हो गया। लास्ट वीक रिचर्ड ब्रांसन के स्पेस में जाते साथ 1 वीक के अंदर हमने अद्भुत असाधारण केस स्टडी रिलीज की। और अभी जोमेटो की शादी चली रही है, दुल्हन के हाथ से मेहंदी भी नहीं सूखी, और हम जोमेटो पे एकदम क्रिस्प, डीप, हौसलों भरा वीडियो रिलीज कर रहे हैं। दोस्तों बड़ा सवाल यह है कि जोमेटो के आइडिया का जन्म कैसे हुआ, क्योंकि होटल रेस्टोरेंट तो पहले भी थे, पहले भी लोग जाते थे, खाया करते थे। क्या ये कोई क्रांतिकारी आइडिया था? क्योंकि अक्सर हम सबके दिमाग में भी आइडियाज आते हैं और उस वक्त कोई हमको समझाता है अरे यार ये तो बहुत ऑर्डिनरी आइडिया है। या हम जब किसी के सक्सेस के बारे में सुनते हैं हमको लगता है यार जीनियस रहा होगा, बहुत बड़ा आइडिया है। नहीं भाई, हर आइडिया का जन्म अपने आसपास की छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए होता है। दीपिंदर गोयल आईआईटी में पढ़ते थे, वहां पर उनको बार बार इस बात की तकलीफ रहती थी यार हर जगह ऑर्डर करने के लिए अलग अलग फोन लगाने पड़ते हैं। और उसी वक्त उन्होंने इस कंसेप्ट के लिए एक वेबसाइट बना दी थी। समय से पहले आ गया था, इंटरनेट की अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं थी, लोग यूज टू नहीं थे, उस समय वो फेल हो गया। उसके बाद वो वहां से बाहर निकले, उन्होंने बेन एंड कंपनी ज्वाइन कर ली। जब वो वहां पहुंचे एक बार फिर उन्होंने उसी प्रॉब्लम को अपने चारों तरफ देखा। ध्यान से समझिए, आपके आसपास ही प्रॉब्लम रहती है, आप उसका सॉल्यूशन निकाल सकते क्या। उन्होंने क्या देखा, ऑफिस कैंटीन में खूब भीड़ रहती है और सब एम्प्लॉइज भीड़ में से ऐसा चढ़ चढ़ के मेनू देखने की कोशिश करते रहते हैं, मेनू में क्या अवेलेबल है। आपस में हमेशा एम्प्लॉइज बात करते रहते थे, कहाँ क्या अच्छा मिलता है। अक्सर वो लोग ये बात करते नजर आते थे, यार होम डिलीवरी हो सकती है क्या, बहुत दूर है रेस्टोरेंट। अच्छा, अक्सर लोग एक दूसरे से पूछते थे यार तेरे पास कांटेक्ट नंबर है क्या वहां का, वहां पर टेबल बुक करनी, रिजर्व करनी है। और सबसे बड़ा यूथ का अट्रैक्शन ऑफर, यार ऑफर कहाँ है, 1 पे 1 फ्री, 2 पे 1 फ्री कहाँ मिलेगा, किसी को गर्लफ्रेंड को ले जाना है, किसी को दोस्तों को पार्टी देना है। उन्होंने सोचा यार कोई सिंपल सॉल्यूशन निकालता हूं, और आसपास देखी गई प्रॉब्लम से उनके स्टार्टअप की सोच का जन्म होता है। अक्सर वो लोग ये बात करते नजर आते थे। यहाँ पर भी ये बिजनेस नहीं था, यहाँ पर सिर्फ एक प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने की मेंटेलिटी थी। आज आप सबसे कहना चाहता हूं, जितने भी लोग व्यापार शुरू करना चाहते हैं, क्रांतिकारी आइडिया मत ढूंढिए, एक ऐसा आइडिया ढूंढिए जो आपके आसपास की किसी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करता हो। यदि आप लोगों की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकते हैं तो लोग आपको पे करने के लिए तैयार हैं। दोस्तों, हर आइडिया को मैच्योर करने के लिए आपको टीम की जरूरत पड़ती है। स्टार्टअप के आने से पहले जो लोग पार्टनरशिप के विरोधी थे, उनको को फाउंडर का गणित समझ में आने लगा। तो दोस्तों, इन्होंने एक को फाउंडर चुना। को फाउंडर कौन था? पंकज चड्ढा, जो इनके साथ आईआईटी में 2 साल जूनियर थे। दोनों ने मिलकर शुरुआत की। अब बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, शुरुआत पर ध्यान देना, कैसे छोटी शुरुआत होती है। सबसे पहले इन्होंने अपने ऑफिस से शुरू किया, बेंस के ऑफिस से। उसके मेनू को स्कैन किया, वेबसाइट पर डाल दिया। अब लोग वहां पर भीड़ लगाने की जगह वेबसाइट पर मेनू देखने लगे। इनका कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ा, एक कदम और आगे बढ़े। मस्ती थी, यंग थे, वीकेंड में हंगामा करना था और थोड़ा सा एक सेंस ऑफ इंपॉर्टेंस पाना था। इन्होंने क्या किया, आसपास, अपने ऑफिस के आसपास जितने रेस्टोरेंट थे, उन सब के मेनू को स्कैन किया, सबके कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर सहित उनको वेबसाइट में डाल दिया। देखा भाई, बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गई। लोग फोन लगाते थे, फिर लोग इनको भी कहते थे, यार बहुत अच्छा काम किया यार दीपिंदर। कॉन्फिडेंस और बढ़ा, पूरे दिल्ली को समेट लिया। कॉन्फिडेंस और बढ़ा, पूरे एनसीआर को समेट लिया और सारे हजारों मेनू उठाकर कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर के साथ और दूसरी डिटेल्स के साथ वेबसाइट पर डाल दिए। अब भाई, खाना तो धर्म है, फूड रिलीजियन है। हजारों लाखों लोग वेबसाइट पर आने लगे और जब आने लगे तो वक्त आ गया, इनको समझ आ गया कि भाई ये जो वीकेंड गिग है, ये जो मस्ती है, अब इसको करियर में बदल लिया जाए। फाइनली 2009 में दोनों ने अपना लग्जरी, देखो आईआईटीएन है तो जॉब निश्चित रूप से फैक्ट पैकेज वाला था, उसको इन्होंने छोड़कर मार्केट में उतरने का, चैलेंज में उतरने का, धूल पसीना खाने का निर्णय ले लिया। वो भी कब? जब लेहमान ब्रदर की क्राइसिस से पूरा वर्ल्ड थर्राया हुआ था। कुछ भी वीकेंड कैरियर के रूप में इसको शुरू कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि यदि पहले दिन से आप छोड़ देना है, पायलट रन कैसे करें, सबसे बड़ी बात पैसा कैसे लाएं, कौन सिखाएगा, आप सबको ये बताते हुए खुशी है। और समझिए, स्टार्टअप मेंटर के रूप में मैं डॉक्टर उज्जवल पाटनी आज से आपके मेल करने के लिए कोई ईमेल एड्रेस नहीं था। गूगल को सर्च किया, दीपिंदर गोयल का ईमेल आईडी निकाला, उस पे मेल किया, क्या लिखते हैं, आई एम योर फैन, आई वांट टू इन्वेस्ट, खत्म। इतना ईमेल था और एक दिन के अंदर दीपिंदर गोयल ने रिप्लाई किया। सोच के देखिए, मतलब स्पीड समझिए, एक दिन के अंदर दीपिंदर गोयल ने रिप्लाई किया, 3 दिन के अंदर डील साइन हुई और इन्फो एज ने फूडी बे में, तब फूडी बे था, इन्फो एज ने फूडी बे में $1 मिलियन डाल दिया। लेसन क्या है, आपका यूजर भी आपका इन्वेस्टर हो सकता है।
Okay, that's a big video. So let me conclude that. So what is the, I was talking about what was the business model of Zomato. Basically, Zomato was making money because of the discounts which they were getting from the restaurants. This is one. Secondly, they are getting the money from the advertisements which they are getting when you are going in for making the online orders for the food. And third one is they are trying to create more and more restaurants, and they are going to have the dependency of the restaurants on the Zomato. So later on there may be a situation wherein the 90% of the business of the restaurant will come through Zomato only. So there may be a stage that Zomato may have a share in that restaurant, or they may acquire those restaurants, something like that. So these are the 3 business models through which the Zomato is earning money. So today in these 2 hours, we have learned that how we can create a startup ecosystem in the higher educational institution, wherein we discussed about various strategies, various kinds of educational practices which we can practice in our educational system. And also we have seen some of the successful case studies of the very, very smaller ideas which has been generated through the society. And for resolving those ideas, people have come up with their startups, and they are the thousands of crores of the companies, and they are making crores of rupees as profits. So I hope that I am able to do the justice with all of you, and you may have learned a lot of things through this deliverables. Thank you very much. It's over to Anisatji.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very, very insightful deliberation. And you will definitely get a feedback from the participants. But from my side, let me tell you, it was one of the best sessions which we had up till now. So, sir, I congratulate you for your dedicated efforts. You can see, sir, in the chat, people have already started their comments. So, with your all your experience, with your good teaching style, for more than 2 hours, okay, and you are the person one person who took more than 2 hours. You crossed your limit also, but then it was very, very engaging. And sir, I sincerely thank for your cooperation. You are too busy for such an FDP, but then for the benefit of we teachers, you have spared your valuable time. Thanks once again, sir. Maybe we will require some more help. So I assume that same help, same cooperation would be there to me and for the other participants as well in future. Wish you all the
Definitely,
best,
sir.
sir. And thank you very much, sir.